Hello everybody, Christopher from ChinaMobileMag here together with the OnePlus One, and you want to know if the OnePlus One really is as good as OnePlus is saying? Well, watch the video to learn more. So this is the box you get the OnePlus One in. It has delivered to me by Lantin.de. And well, it looks pretty simple yet beautiful with the white out box. You can pull the red box inside out and you see again a OnePlus logo. You can flip that open like a book and then you see a little piece of plastic that's looking exactly like the Oppo Find 7 packaging. Originally the phone would be placed inside of here, and below we see the other accessories of the phone. We have a SIM tray opening tool in some case that you can put on your keyring. We have a flat micro USB cable in red and a little envelope which contains a Chinese user manual, because this is the Chinese version of the OnePlus One. Headphones unfortunately do not come with the phone, which is a bit sad for a phone that wants to be a flagship killer. As you also get a power supply with the phone in another box with the OnePlus logo on top and the shape of the wall charger on it. And here it is. It looks typically OnePlus style, white with the red logo on top, a USB plug and a Chinese plug, wall plug, and we also got an adapter from Lantin.de. So that's about the packaging. Enough about the packaging. Everyone wants to see the phone, right? And here it is, pretty beautiful and exactly looking like a Oppo Find 7, at least at the first look. But as you look closer at it, you notice a few key differences. The first is that the status LED is not below here, but on top instead. It's an RGB LED, so it can light up in all kind of colors. We have a front camera, a phone call speaker and some sensors on top which you can't really see here. And we also have touch buttons here below the screen for menu, home and back. Those are a bit back illuminated, not bright. That's a pro in the dark, but a con under daylight, as you can barely see them. And when we take a closer look at that, we see something really interesting here. It looks like this metal frame is lying on top of the phone itself, and then again the screen also looks like it is lying on top of this metal frame. So that's really a nice detail that they've implemented here in the design, and well, I really like that. It looks really nice, I think. So let's have a look at the sides of the phone, and as you can see, the rear and the sides are one piece of plastic here. We have a SIM tray with a small hole which you can use to open it, and we have a volume rocker which is pretty thin and black, so you can see it pretty well on the white housing, and it also has pretty nice pressure points. And on the lower side we see two openings for the media speakers. There are two inside of there. And in the center we see a micro USB port with OTG support, and here a little voice microphone for phone calls. On the right side we only see the on-off switch, which is looking exactly the same like the volume rocker, just a little bit smaller. And on the top we see the 3.5mm headphone jack, and I think that's another microphone, but I'm not exactly sure about that. And on the rear we see that it's all white here, as I have the white model here. It's coated with powdered cashew nuts and it actually feels really nice, really soft. You just want to touch it all the time, and it also is pretty slippery when going over it with one finger, but as soon as you hold it inside your whole hand, it has a decent amount of grip and it won't slide off your hands, as you can see here. And here you see the camera unit, which is embedded into a small piece of metal. You see the main camera here and two LED flashes here. And here you see another microphone, which is probably for the camera when doing video recordings. Below you see the OnePlus logo, and atop some informational imprints like the model number. The CyanogenMod mod logo is of course missing with the Chinese version, as this one comes with ColorOS. We however have installed Cyanogen11S on it. So all in all, I have to say that the build quality of this phone is amazing for this price, and probably it's one of the most high quality phones you can get, or probably even the most high quality phone you can get in this price range. It's just amazing how well this piece of hardware is built, how it feels, and well, how it looks. I really like that, and OnePlus has really done a great job here. So let's bring the thing alive by double tapping on the screen to show you the same. And the screen is a really nice one with the OnePlus One, I have to say. It has a really good quality. It's a 5.5-inch Full HD panel, and once again it's a proof for the fact that you don't need 2K resolution on a 5.5-inch screen to get a really good image quality. Just look at this, you can't see any pixels with the naked eye. Even with the camera it's really hard to see them, and the overall quality of the picture is really good. The colors are really vivid and naturally, everything is sharp, the screen has nice contrast, and it is really bright as well. You can perfectly read it when being outside, which is something that is very rare among smartphones or Chinese phones especially. Also, the touchscreen is working amazingly well, and what I noticed is that the fingers glide on this glass like it would be a piece of butter or something. It's really slippery, but that's actually a pro, because you don't get the strange feeling when moving your finger above the screen, and you can work really precisely on the screen, because you can do like really small movements here and really precise movements. So that's definitely a pro, and it is also really precise and never has ghost touches or something like that. And let's have a look at the viewing angles of the screen, and those are very good as well. As you can see here, you can read everything from every side, and what is surprising me is that the brightness of the screen is only going down a tiny little bit, and that's really good. So the screen is definitely as good as with every other flagship phone out there right now. So as the phone is running right now, let's have a look at some benchmark results right away, starting with the Antutu benchmark. And you might know that the OnePlus One is based on a Snapdragon 801 processor, so this has plenty of power, especially without a 2K display, and you see it here, 37,038 points. In Antutu, that's definitely a great number. So let's have a look at the bar chart, and here you see it, it's on top of everything here, above the HTC One M8. The OnePlus One reached the first place here. And let's have a quick look at the device info. So this is based on Android 4.4.2 KitKat, CyanogenMod 11S. As you can see here, the screen resolution 1920 by 1080. The rear camera has a resolution of 13.1 megapixels. Then we have 3 GB of RAM, which is hell of a lot, 16 GB of internal memory, of which 12.14 GB are usable for you. And then we have, of course, a Sony Exmor camera lens here. And here you see some of the supported sensors, and that's pretty much all important, from e-compass to gyroscope to linear acceleration sensor, so that's pretty nice. So let's have a look at the next benchmark, and that would as usual be 3D Mark. And while you probably guess it, the OnePlus One reached maxed out in every score, in every benchmark except the unlimited benchmark. So let me show you that, and here you see that the OnePlus One reached 19,434 points in the iStorm Unlimited test, so that's again pretty good. Then a quick look inside GFX Bench, and as this one produces a lot of scores, I don't show you all, I just give you a quick look at some results. Here's the Manhattan result with 755 points, the T-Rex result with 1604 points, and here the ALU result with 1896 points. Then let's also have a look inside Wilemo, and here the OnePlus One reached 2783 points in the browser test, 1828 points in the multi-core test, and 1613 points in the muscle test. So those benchmark results are pretty high and pretty good. What does it mean for real life use? Well, even power users probably won't reach the borders of this phone in terms of how powerful it is. Everything runs buttery smooth on the operating system, surfing the internet, working with multiple apps at once. Everything is working just flawlessly. Even playing 4K videos is working amazingly well. The only thing I noticed, and that's probably a thing of a lack of optimization, is that some games are lagging, like Asphalt 8 and Re-Racing 3. They are actually lagging a bit more than on MT6592 phones, which is unusual considering the high power of this chipset. So this should really be a software issue, and I hope and I think that this will be fixed with some update in the future. So next, let's have a look at the performance in our performance demo. Have fun with that. Please note the skip time, so you can jump over that if you don't like to watch that. Talking about multimedia playback, the OnePlus One really does a great job, and here you see a 4K video recorded with the phone running, and it's perfectly smooth and looking just amazing on the screen, and well, does not slow down the phone at all. Regarding the music playback audio quality, I have to say that the internal media speakers of the OnePlus One sound pretty good. They are not as powerful as the ones we find inside the Oppo Find 7a or Oppo Find 7 or Vivo X-Play 3s, but they are pretty loud, they are very clear, and they have a decent bass playback, which makes music sound really balanced and full. The only downside I noticed is that on full volume sometimes the speakers do overdrive, but this happens very rarely, so this is not really a downside of the phone. And something that really amazed me is the audio output through the headphone jack. You really could believe that they are using some amplifier in there, even if this is not the case as far as I know. But the output is really powerful, extremely loud and very balanced and clear, and it is really a lot of fun to listen to music using good headphones or your favorite hi-fi system. So now I will give you a quick audio demo of the internal speakers. Have fun with that. Okay, next I want to give you a quick demo of CyanogenMod Mod 11s, and I say quick because showing everything would be too long for this video, and I will show you just some important features and what I think about them. So let's first start with how to turn the phone on. There are actually two ways of turning the phone on. First, you can double tap the screen and it will bring the phone to life. And then you can of course use the on-off switch to do so. You also have a few gesture options with the turned off screen. First, you can turn on the flashlight or the LED of the phone by drawing a V here on the screen. Now you see it's on, and when I draw a V again, it's off again. And I also can open apps with gestures, for example the camera, by simply drawing an O on the screen, and here you see now the camera is activated. So now you see the launcher of CyanogenMod Mod 11s, and it's actually not that much different from a stock Android, just the options are a little bit different. Let's first have a sneak peek inside the app drawer. This is looking like this, and you don't have a separate widgets drawer here. To organize widgets and everything, you simply tap on the home screen for a longer time, or you press the menu button on the home screen, and then you get an overview of all your home screens. You can manage them, you can say you want this as your standard home screen, you can change the scroll effect, you can change your backgrounds and of course the widgets, and you also get into your settings very quick by tapping here. The settings are looking pretty much the same as with a stock Android, just a little bit more configuration is possible as we are used to from CyanogenMod. For example, the wall system design can be adjusted, you can install design packages, or you can change symbols or icons, fonts, backgrounds, lock screens, boot animations, audio packages and all that stuff. And of course it features also the Android 4.4 KitKat specific new features such as printing and all that stuff. I give you a quick look inside about the phone. So this is how it is looking here. It's the newest CyanogenMod Mod 11s for the OnePlus One. So next I want to show you a feature That is pretty interesting. You are used to from Android that you can pull down the menu bar with one finger to see your notification list and with two fingers to see your quick settings. Now this is working here as well, but you also can do it in a different way. You can either drag down on the left for the notifications or on the right for the quick settings. So if you don't want to use two fingers or have problems with that, that's a pretty good solution you have here. Regarding the apps, I have to say that there is not that much. There are even some things that I'm missing, like FM radio, which is not supported, and also the stock Android music player or the CyanogenMod music player, which is not present here. You actually have to use Google Play Music to listen to music, which is not the best player, to be honest. It's pretty complicated to use it, I think. So you have to install something else on there if you don't like that. Other system apps which are pretty useful is a system-wide equalizer, which is not only working for Android apps but also for third-party apps like Spotify. You can choose different equalizer presets, you can add a echo and oops, I'm sorry, now I closed it. And you can control the bass intensity and the surround sound intensity. So that's pretty nice and gives a nice audio quality improvement. Another thing that I really like is the screen recording feature. You can record a video from your phone screen and use it for tutorials or something, and record your voice with the internal microphone, and the video will also record where you touch it with a little point. Then we also have a file manager, which is a bit different from the stock Android file manager, but it actually does not have a lot of features. You can't do root browsing here, and you also can't extract zip files, so well, it's pretty much a redesign with some added features that are not that important. Next, the image gallery of CyanogenMod 11S, and this one is looking pretty nice. It orders your pictures according to the date they were created, and it also is pretty fast and loads the thumbnails very quick and has some nice extra features like editing pictures. I can show that here. You have a lot of options here. You can do automatic image improvement, you can cut the images, you can rotate them, you can add styles. You see it's a bit like Instagram. And you also can do fine adjustments with all kind of options like temperature, saturation, contrast, brightness and all that stuff. And you also can add predefined filters such as a vintage effect, a dramatic effect. You can change your pictures to black and white, you can apply an HDR effect and all that stuff. That's really nice. Tilt shift is available as well, and you also can add frames to your pictures. So this is a pretty nice app and I really like that. But else, not much has been changed here, and all the other apps are pretty much the stock apps, just with a little redesign for some of them. So lastly, I want to show you the camera app of the OnePlus One, and this is actually pretty simple to use but complicated at sometimes though. First, you have quite some options for your camera like resolution, quality, slow shutter speed. You can configure the focus, you can adjust ISO values and all that stuff. Regarding videos, you can switch resolutions between Ultra HD 4K, 1080p HD and so on. You can enable time-lapse and all that stuff. And you even can choose the video encoder and the audio encoder you want to use for your videos, which is pretty nice. And you also can change some button usage, like using the on-off switch to take a picture and such stuff. And it also has some really nice features such as black and white, picture stabilization, night shot, movement, slow shutter and all that stuff, but I actually don't like how you have to choose that with this list here. I would like to have it inside a menu because you would find it quicker then. What I also like very much about the camera is how fast it is taking pictures. So let me just take one and boom, here we have it already. So this is working very well, and yeah, it's one of the fastest cameras I've ever seen inside a phone. So that's about Cyanogen Mod 11S for now. If you want to have a more detailed view on it, there are a lot of videos on YouTube showing this operating system in detail, so please watch them. I won't do a closer video about it because there are enough of these videos already. Okay, now we come to the important point, reception quality. And here I have to say that unfortunately the OnePlus One did not satisfy me. Now right now I have a pretty good reception quality for Wi-Fi and 3G, but I noticed a lot of difficulties during my test. I was on the go with the phone several times, and during this time it lost the GSM signal or 3G signal all the time, and I sometimes was left without a signal in areas where the network was not very strong, but my Star S7589 still had a network, but the OnePlus One hadn't. So the antenna inside of there is actually not that good. It's not bad and you won't have any issues as long as you are in cities or something, but you definitely can get issues if you are in areas where the network development is kinda outdated. So that's a con. And you also notice that when doing phone calls, sometimes the quality was really bad during my test phone calls. I tested it with two different networks actually, and there was a lot of noise inside the background and the audio quality was not that good, and the one I called had a hard time understanding me sometimes. So I don't know if this is only this device or something, but I definitely had issues with that and the performance was not good at all. Regarding Wi-Fi, I have to say that the signal could also be stronger. I am right next to the router right now, that's why I have full signal strength, but when I go to the floors above and below the router, I immediately get issues. The signal either is that bad that the connection isn't fast anymore, or it even loses the signal at some parts of the house, which is definitely not the case with a lot of other phones. So again, the Wi-Fi antenna in there is not that good, so it could be better. But this still doesn't make it unusual. Regarding Bluetooth, I have to say that this performs amazingly with the OnePlus One. I've managed to reach ranges of about 20 meters under free view, which is quite a lot for Bluetooth, and that's really amazing. And also NFC is working very, very good with this phone. You just hold two phones together, tap them, and you can send something with Android Beam. It's working flawlessly. Also my passport was read flawlessly by the phone, so that's not a problem here. Next, GPS reception quality. Let me just open up some screenshots about that. And well, it's actually good as you're used to from Qualcomm chipsets, even though it did not manage to get as many satellites as a lot of other Qualcomm Snapdragon 800, 801 phones. I don't really know why. Probably it's again the antenna, probably it's also the software, I don't know. I tried it on different times of the days and I never got more than 11 satellites with this phone, while for example the Oppo Find 7 always had around 16 to 17 satellites. Well, this was tested around outside the house under clear sky. It got a fix for 7 satellites and an accuracy of 3 meters, and surprisingly no GLONASS satellites. I don't know why. And then I did another test inside the house in front of a window, and there it got 9 satellites. Then it got some GLONASS satellites, as you can see here, and an accuracy of 6 meters. and the last test was also inside the house without a window nearby. It was in the middle of the house, and surprisingly it got 11 satellites here and an accuracy of 7 meters. So even though the satellite count is not as high as with other phones, the reception quality is really good and is really accurate when working with GPS. So all GPS is working great and you shouldn't encounter any issues with that. Okay, time to talk about camera, and the OnePlus One has a 13.1 megapixel rear camera with an aperture of f2.2, and yes, it takes amazing pictures for a phone in this price range. It's probably the best camera I've ever seen inside the price range of 200 euros. And well, the pictures are sharp, they have great colors, and well, it's just fun taking pictures with this phone. But yes, it has a few flaws as well. The pictures are a bit noisy all the time, and it gets worse when the lighting conditions are not that good anymore. And the internal LED flash actually can't do much about that because it sucks for two LEDs. It just does a minimal light up in large rooms, so it's, well, a good flashlight and maybe good for close-ups, but not for real shots in the night inside larger rooms. Also, I noticed that the depth of field of the camera is not as good as, for example, with the Oppo Find 7, but well, that's complaining at a high level actually. So I would say take 30% of the Oppo Find 7's camera quality off and you have the OnePlus One camera, which is still really amazing in this price range. Also, video recording is amazing in Ultra HD with this phone. Videos really look like they would be made with a television camera, and they are really sharp, a lot of details and an amazing audio quality. It really sounds amazing, you can hear everything. The sound has a really good high quality, no noises, that's really good. It's really fun doing videos with the OnePlus One. Those of you who are doing YouTube might get a stand for the phone to use it as the YouTube camera. This would work amazingly well, but of course only with the 64 GB version of the OnePlus One, because the 16 GB version would be filled up with videos in no time. So lastly, I want to talk a bit about the front camera, and this one unfortunately is shit. I say it like that because it really is shit. Pictures are noisy even under daylight and unsharp, and they are pretty much unusable. You can use the camera for video calls, but not even this is fun with this camera. So that's about the cameras inside the OnePlus One, and yeah, they are pretty good all in all except the front camera. So lastly, we talk about battery life of the OnePlus One, and the OnePlus One has a non-replaceable 3100 milliamps battery, and the battery life is really good inside of there, but of course it depends on how you are using the phone. During the past 2 days I didn't use the OnePlus One that much because I had to care about other stuff again, and it was only in standby, and as you can see we have now 58% left after 2 days and 1 hour of use. So basically the battery is really good, but power users might be a bit disappointed as me, because when I use the phone as my main phone on a daily basis for the past 7 days, it actually never reached more than 1 day, but that's, well, I'm using phones all the time. I am a business user, I am checking my mails, I am doing calendar stuff, I am doing support chats, I'm even writing blog posts on my phone sometime. And well, I also take a lot of pictures and use GPS and so on, so this is using a lot of battery, and 1 day is actually good, it's not bad, I'm not complaining about that, but I just love phones a lot more that last a bit longer. Like the Oppo Find 7, this managed to reach 2 days with my heavy usage, or the GIU G6, which is kind of the record holder with up to 4 days of usage, 3 in average, and the G6 actually is a bit cheaper than the OnePlus One. So that being said, the battery is a bit weak for a flagship killer, but it's really good. The average user probably reaches 2 to 3 days with it. Only power users will stay at 1 day and need to charge it in the evening. So that's for the battery. So my final conclusion about the OnePlus One. Well, OnePlus claims it to be a flagship killer, and I say it's definitely not a flagship killer and it's not a flagship phone. Well, it's OnePlus flagship phone because it's their first phone, but it does not come anywhere close to a Oppo Find 7 or a Vivo X Play 3S. For this it has too many flaws, like the battery reception quality, the battery life, which is good but not as good as I would like it to be for a flagship phone, and of course the camera, which has a little weakness with noise and depth of field. But for this price it is a really good phone and an amazing device, and I can really recommend it, buying it. Just do not expect that much. I would rate it as an upper mid-range phone. I would pull it into the same category as the top mid-range phone from other Chinese companies, such as the Kingston K1S, for example, or the Xiaoyu G6, when combining all pros and cons and seeing it as an overall package. So that being said, it's an amazing phone. It has one of the best price ratios you can get right now, and if you like this phone and if you can live with the few flaws it has, buy it. You won't regret it. It's amazing. You can get it, for example, from Europe right now, from Lantine.de for 319 euros. It is being shipped from Germany, but you can also order it directly from China. Or if you somehow have the chance to get an invite from OnePlus, you can of course also get it directly from them, but that's still pretty hard and one of the biggest cons about the OnePlus One for now. So, well, I think that's it with the video. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please leave a comment, thumbs up and maybe even a subscription to the channel. Thanks for watching, bye and see you soon with a new review.